maybe some people go to pray and we come back. So we continue the class. So I'll start the class by sharing my screen right now. Are you seeing my screen?
Yes.
Okay. So class today is talking about web design. So like we've been saying from the start that web development is different from web design. So the web design is a creative process, like I've written that you creating websites without coding. So it's not everybody that would be able to code, and it's not everyone that would have time to code. So, and someone that wants to do a job would have better knowledge over the job more than another person. So that is the reason why many people will be like, okay, I want to code my website. I want to code something like myself. So the outline of the class is we are going to do a general introduction to website, and I'm going to talk about WordPress. So because that's the major CMS, content management system, that is being used today. So I'm going to talk about that as the reference point. So the brief introduction to WordPress, and I'm going to talk about the dashboard, the plugins, themes, widget, customization and editing, uploading and publishing, and other software. So this will be treated better. So general introduction to website. Before we start like talking about how to design a website, how to build your own website without coding, we must know what a website is. So, and I know that our previous speaker will have done justice to that, so I wouldn't go too much in that. So I'll just be explaining it, just saying some things, and probably this will be a very fast class. So a website is a collection of web pages. It can be static or dynamic web application like Facebook, UNICEF, etc. So if you notice in a website, if we enter a website, we can see about the home page, the about page, the what again can we see? The any pages, like we can see in a website, the maybe contact page, anything we can see in a website. Those things, they are separate pages. So all those pages, about page, Kinikan page, all those pages are now brought together to form a what? From that person's particular website. So that's why when we are designing website, we said what? We say it is a collection of web pages. That is different pages all together to form one single unit. Hope we get. So a website is determined on the internet, is dependent on the internet and www. So without the internet and the World Wide Web, there can't be website. And I know you will have said this. So internet is the interconnection of computers. How can we connect together so that information can be shared together? That's what brought internet. So a little history back to internet. It started in the military zone then, and they only wanted to like connect together then, and they were like using physical wires. Even till today, the internet is still composed of physical wires. So even till after like development started, they started with optical fibers and every other thing. So us personally, a local computer, we don't use wire. We don't see us connecting to the internet via wire, because we are like an end user. So we connect to a web server, maybe through our router or our Wi-Fi or our anything. And if you now trace everything back, you still see that it is still connected via what? Via physical wires. Hope you get. If you study networking, we know all these something, the third layer, all those things. So I think that's that. So and a website will have a URL, consists of a web protocol and domain name. Example is www.google.com. I know it will have been said. I don't want to take much time on that. So, and okay, every URL has an IP address. So an IP address is, I will treat it later, is like some particular numbers that give you an house. for, or that gives a house for you to store your website. So it's like a number assigned to your particular site, your particular website. That's the number your site will be stored on the web server with. So, and that's that. We have different types of websites. We have an e-commerce website for stores, for buying and selling, for ordering goods. So that's one of the very common types of websites. We have the NGO, the non-governmental website. So an example is UNICEF. So, and we have the portfolio website, and this is very common. So where someone will be showcasing his or her works. And we have the blog website. And this blog website, someone will be posting content depending on the person's niche. So let's say I niche in medicine, like I'm posting health content in a blog, and you can earn through a blog by maybe affiliate, by advertising for people, and that's that. So requirement for a website. So a website has some things that if it is not put in place, the website cannot be on the internet and people can't see it across. So that's the domain and hosting. Do we get? Domain is like if you see the www.google.com, that .com is what? Is the domain name. Do we get? So the domain name is the website name on the internet that we are giving the website. Let's say .com for the what? That's the most most widely something, and it's one of the, I can't say it's quite expensive, but it's somehow expensive. So, and we have .org. Most organizations use that. .ng, maybe if you're in Nigeria. .edu if it is an educational based website. Hope you are hearing.
Yes, sir, we can hear you.
So that's the domain name. So it's like having a particular, it's like telling an internet that know me as this. Hope that is gotten. So I think that's sufficient. So the hosting is like where you store your files on the internet. So files, all our files are placed or are stored in a cupboard, and that cupboard is called what? It's called the server. Is that cupboard that will be serving the internet whenever it is asked. So anybody across the internet now, let's say I want to Google jumia.com. If I now say, okay, www.jumia.com, I'll press the domain name. I now want to get that website. So the files will be stored somewhere, and that's the server. So the server, they are like the company that serve documents are called web hosts. So all those companies, if you notice, they are usually online 24/7 because anybody can ask for the website anytime. So that's the main reason why you have to host your website, for them to serve the website whenever it is being asked. So I think that's that. And we have major platform like Google Host, GoDaddy for major web hosts for hosting your website, and both are paid. The domain name and the website both are paid. So we have software or program. So installing, after we've done the domain, after we've done the hosting and we've paid for them, maybe I usually use googlehost.ng, so I prefer that. So, but anyone you use, after you've done that, then you have to know what medium are you going to use. If you are coding, it means you are going to go to your HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. But if you are not coding, it means that, or if you are not coding and you are using a website, you are doing a web design, it means you are going to go and use your web design software like WordPress, Joomla, and every other. So after that's the next stage after the hosting packages. Then you should have all the things you would need for your website, like images, content, logo, and every other thing. So these are just the requirements. So a good website, for a website to be good, if you're a web designer, you must take note of some things. For a website to be good, you must just not design any website anyhow. So the website must be functional. Then it must not just be like, the website must be functional. That is, there must not be any place that will not be function. Example, I want to press a navigation bar. I'm now pressing the navigation and it's not going. So you must take note of every aspect of your website that it's functional. So a website must be error free. So in content, let's say in a website now, it is now written that maybe the content in the website has too much grammatical error. please, do you expect viewer to still stay on that site? So you have when one is building a site, like one is expected to take note of everything. That's why we see most time if one wants to build website, they are team based. One person will take the content so that the person will write. Most time we usually need copywriters for our website because of grammar free and every other aspect. So the website must be attractive, and this is one of the things that that brings the viewers to the that make them stay. Let me say it like that. So if a website is attractive, to be clear, to have a good color, high quality images, nice font, and organized layout. This is where we see that a graphic design work is related to a what? To a web designer work. So that's why in a big project they usually call a graphic designer separately, or UI UX designer, anyone we can say, they call them separately because it is a very major aspect in web design. So, but sometimes a web designer can just have some skills of graphic design and say, we'll do it, she will get. A website must be secured. So this is one of the very, very important aspect of a website. If a website is not secured, privacy, like the privacy of the people won't be safe, and any information, any passwords, anything can be easily accessed from the website. And there's this thing Google is doing right now to know if a website is secured. The Google will check if the website has an SSL certificate. So if it doesn't have, then Google will automatically write that what this website is not secure. We get to that more. So we have to make sure with what we take note of that. Actually, I think I noticed that something is cutting the material. So I don't know if there's any way I can make it maybe landscape. I think it's cutting. I'm coming. Let me check if I can on my system. Hope you are flowing along. Wow.
Yes.
Yes, sir, we are flowing.
Okay. So the website must be optimized for search. Must have optimized for search. Must be optimized for search engine. So this it means that when we were learning coding, then there were things that we were told that to do it, when we do it, it makes our website, when something is being searched, it will be at the top, or it will be amongst 1 to 10, because you've done some things that will make the website easily like to be seen, or how can I say it, by the search engine, which is the Google. Hope you understand. So likewise, I don't want to go much in that in coding aspect. So, but generally, a website must be optimized for search engine. That is, it must have some things that, or it must be made in such a way that when you search for anything regarding that related to that website, it will be easily fetched by the search engine at one of to be one of the top things that will be placed. Hope you get. So the website must be easy to navigate. It must be accessible. So yes, this thing I usually say about accessibility. Accessibility has many. It has in if you check is a term used by majorly by developer. When they say accessibility, they usually say that it means that a website must be very clear, because as a web designer you should actually know that okay, some people might not see very well, and they might want to check my website. Okay, let's say if your website is more of multimedia, if you think, okay, some people might not hear very well and they might want to visit my website. Okay, you might even think some people, they might not even be like different cases. Hope you get. So some people might not be that mentally like upright like that, and they might want to check the website, like they are not that smart. So you mustn't make your website full of jargons. Hope you are getting. So those are things. All these things are very crucial. So browser compatibility, this is one of the things developers like had problem with. That is, when they develop one site, they will now see that okay, with this website I develop now, if I open the code in, let's say, Safari, it won't be like how have developed it when I was using, developer may use one particular browser like Chrome now. So when he was developing using Chrome, he didn't check Safari by mistake to check if maybe any code or anything is supported. So if it doesn't do that, whenever it goes to check Safari, it might not be like what he wanted. So we must try to check, and these two, you must try to check the responsiveness of the website too. Maybe on the phone, or maybe when it is on the system is very good, and when it's on phone. But if you are doing WordPress, you don't have to really consider that. So maintainable. A website must be maintainable. If that this is one of the something, if you have a website and I opened the website and I saw that okay, the thing that has been posted on this website is from, let's say, 2017. One of the things is just that I'll just leave the site. So a website must be maintainable. That is, in a way that when I go to the site, I'll say that okay, this website is up to date. I think that's, I won't go too much. So WordPress. This is the website like builder. How can I say that we are going to treat? So WordPress, it is the most popular CMS. And what do we call CMS? Content management system. So there was a time I was coding using PHP, a content management system for a store, though I didn't finish the project. So a content management is something that will make you dominate a website. Content management is like, I want to give you the free will to do anything you want. So WordPress is giving us the free will to do anything we want on the website. It's not like me coding now. If I code and I give the client the code, the client may not know how to code. But if I use WordPress to develop something, the client might just have experience of drag and drop. So WordPress is built in a way, like in a content management system, that is, the client will be able to in building, in managing and organizing the content of the website. Shall we get? And that's one of the major aspects, in coding aspect, a coder too must know how to build a CMS. So more than 60% websites are using CMS. Yes, more than 60. Jumia, if I'm correct, is using WordPress, if I'm very correct. So it's an open source, that is, all of its code is free to use and customize. So I even have offline WordPress on my system now. It's code. I can use WordPress. I can manipulate the code. I can use it for anything I want. So it's open source. It is made to drag and drop. So drag and drop means you're not coding. It's your mouse, or your mouse you are just using to, I want this to be here. I want this to be here. And through that, you've developed a website. So it is the drag and drop system. It is based on PHP, HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. WordPress is based on PHP. Even though at now, developers, should I say most? At now, developers shun PHP. Let me just put it like that. Because they see PHP as a language that should not really be used, except maybe a language that has been built with PHP before. Do you get? So even if I personally would advise someone going to code, I wouldn't say the person should learn PHP. I learned it in the past and I use it for some projects, but I wouldn't advise. I would rather say the person should learn maybe Node. So that's by the way. So it can be customized through its theme and plugins. So websites usually has themes and plugins we can use to customize. Okay, so and this another thing is that we should know the difference between WordPress.com and WordPress.org. If maybe you want to like build a website in WordPress, you now type www.wordpress.com. It is giving you different things from www.wordpress.org. So if you say www.wordpress.com, it is going to host your site and it will still have .wordpress.com. Let's say my site is maybe PyGuard, www.pygard. And now maybe when I wanted to develop the site, I use WordPress.com to go and develop it. It is going to bring it, like it is WordPress that is going to be the server of that site. So the something is going to be www.pygard.wordpress.com. And we don't want that. We want pygard.com. So if you want a WordPress site that you can use any server with it, your own specific server, you don't have to be concerned. It's just you doing whatever you want to do on the WordPress and you using any server you like. So you use WordPress.org. It's not server specific, but WordPress.com, it will use its own server. Shall we get? So are we getting? I don't know how many people are in the class. Let me check.
Yeah, we can hear what you are saying.
Okay. So WordPress there is one thing I usually tell people: it is not the means, it is what you do. I believe that someone designing with a phone and someone doing graphic design with a system, someone doing with a phone can even do something better than someone using a system. And someone designing with a WordPress can even do something better than someone coding. So you shouldn't be specific. If you have the mind of learning WordPress, just aim that and learn the WordPress and know it very, very well. WordPress has coding aspects, but many people don't know that unless like high developer. You can create plugins for people to use. Maybe you feel WordPress has an issue with time, you cannot calculate time. You can create your own plugin for WordPress and it will be able to calculate time using PHP, since we know that WordPress is based on PHP. You can create your own theme. All these things I'm even seeing in WordPress, they are not okay. I have a new innovative idea of theme that nobody has ever done before. You can create a WordPress theme that people will find very, very good and they can sell it at thousands of naira using PHP. And again, sometimes you might be coding, you might be doing WordPress site, and maybe you find some things uncomfortable. Uncomfortable. Most time, if I'm doing my offline WordPress, I usually go to the WordPress file and the PHP code to to change my own code personally. Let's say now the time frame for WordPress is I'm not satisfied with it. I will go and change it to my own time frame. So WordPress too has a coding aspect for developers, but basically you can do drag and drop and create an awesome website. So the WordPress dashboard. So the dashboard, it's after installing WordPress and you've configured the WordPress site, it is going to display, after installing it, it is going to display like a particular content, and that is what we call the dashboard. After you've buy your domain, your hosting, you've installed the WordPress through that hosting, because you can't install WordPress unless you've hosted a site. So after you've installed the WordPress, then when you open it, it's going to display a screen, and that is what we call the dashboard. So, and the URL for a dashboard, it is usually that particular company URL slash WordPress admin. So let's say my own site is www.pyga.com right now. So, and I've already installed WordPress and I want to start the website, and that WordPress screen will be www.pyga.com/wp-admin. Hope you get. So a dashboard usually has three things. It has a sidebar. The sidebar is the one at the far left and is somehow dark. I'm sorry I didn't bring pictures. It's just due to time and other things. So it is the one at the far left and it is usually dark. So that is where we have the menus like plugins, themes, appearance, post, page, everything, settings, widgets. Widget is inside appearance actually. So that's where we have everything. And at the middle, we have the actual screen. And that actual screen, it is where all the building takes place. Hope you get. So, and we have the far right. At the far right, there are about 3 things there, and that is the option bar. So the option bar, when pressed, it display something you see, LOOD, abi OD username. I'm sorry, I'm not checking OD username. So at that place, when pressed, you see maybe your login, your profile, logout and profile and every other thing. So that's the basic thing that you see basically on the what's it called? The dashboard of WordPress. Hope you get. So now let's go to plugins. Plugins are things that can alter features of a WordPress site. Example, I'm like, okay, normally a WordPress site might not have WhatsApp maybe, or might not have WhatsApp, maybe what's it called? WhatsApp support. So, and I want to add that new feature, that WhatsApp support, that feature, I want to add it inside WordPress. It's a new feature. So anything that can add new feature to a WordPress, or that can alter a WordPress, what we call plugin. So if I have something that will inside the WordPress. I'll call that in a plugin. So an example of a plugin, and a plugin is a PHP file, and someone like me can create a plugin. Even I can create it, and many people will be using it, and I'll be earning money from it. So it is used for to extend or to alter the functionality of a WordPress site. Do you understand? So popular plugins are SEO Pack, Akismet, and Contact Form 7. All these one are the major plugins we usually use. The SSL and every other thing. So SSL is like a certificate that when it is in your site, it determines if the site is secure. And when it is not, Google will say the site is not secure. So advantage of a WordPress site is of plugins is that it makes, there are some plugins they make, please maybe let's stop the audio, and maybe in 10 minutes or 15 minutes I'll start again, so we can just like wait a little for 10 minutes, please.